Here's Rhea in her bandana. She's jumping up saying hi that I made, and I'm going to show you how to make these. And here's Tizzy in hers. Now Tizzy kind of clashes with her PJs, but you can see Miss Tizzy really likes her holiday bandana also. Now I didn't have any red thread. It probably would have been better with red or gold thread, but this was my first time making these, and I had to make a pattern, and so I'm going to show you how I did that. Okay, here are the collars off, and you can see I've gathered it. That's the word I was trying to come up with earlier, and I really like how it looks when they're gathered. As I said, this is looking more of a Western with the white stitching, but I am not a professional, and I've just come up with this on my own, and I want to share with you what I did so you can do this too, because if I can do this, you can do this. So I'm not a professional. I only had white thread, and maybe if I make some more of these, I'll get some different colored thread, but it's going to be kind of hard to do. I'm just recording this with my iPhone. But let me pull on this. You can see it's nearly the length of the collar, and so is Miss Tizzy's. And so let me take hers off. And so to do this, I measured the length of the collar, and it's actually 21 inches, and it's about 1.5 inches thick. And Maria's collar is about exactly 12 inches, and it's about 2 inches thick. And so if I can do this with one hand, actually when I did it, I actually took the collar and just laid it on here and kind of measured from corner to corner. But you can get more exact if you want. And this is a black ruler. The girls chewed up our other ruler. 21 inches is about from, let's see, there to there. And so, as I said, I'm not doing this very well with one hand, holding the phone with the other hand, but I think you're going to get the idea. And so I just measured, and this should be about 21 inches. It's about 20 inches, so I would redo it. It needs to be about the size of the length of your collar. And then you simply cut it. So it is a square. This is not working. Let's set it down. You simply cut it so it is a square. And so you see I cut it on both edges, if you can see. So it is a square or a diagonal. And then what I did next was to take this point here and fold it down to the center. And you do this a little bit more exact. And so I've folded it down, folded the point down to the center where this crease is, and I cut that off. And I ended up with this shape. So I've got this shape. It's kind of a diamond shape. And now if I observe and I put her collar in here, I need to make sure this is the part where the collar is going to go in. inside. That's going to be this section here. And I just kind of observed, and I have enough room for the collar, and then I have enough room to turn either edge over, and so it was kind of perfect. Now when I made Ria's with the 12 inches, set this back down and see if I can do this, and this was about 12 inches here. And then I folded the point down. Folded the point down like that and cut it off. And I put Ria's collar on here. And so if I give myself a little bit of extra space, and then I have about this much extra space, which was too much. I said to myself, well, that's just too much. It's too wide unless I really want to turn my material over the seams a lot more than I intended to do. And so I went ahead and I measured the width, and Tizzy's was 1 inch and Ria's was 2 inches, and I went and got Tizzy's pattern. This is the actual pattern I used, and I compared it, and I realized that a good formula for figuring out the width of this is to double the size of the collar and then add another inch. And so actually Tizzy's collar was 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches times 2 is 3 inches, and so add another inch. So Tizzy's was 4 inches wide. Well, Ria's collar is 2 inches, so times it by 2 is 4, and then add another inch for where we turn things over, and so 5 inches. So I actually went back to her pattern, and I cannot read on this black ruler. 5 inches is right here. So I went ahead, 5 inches is to here, and I went ahead and I cut off that to 5 inches. So then Ria's pattern was a little bit different than Tizzy's, the bigger dog. And so now you can see that's a much better width for the pattern. Then what you need to do, here's my material. I spent $3 on it. I used only a very little bit. I didn't need as much material as I did make, and I think I'm going to make something else with it. Either some flowers for their collars, or I might go get me some gold thread and remake their collars, since it didn't cost very much. So here for $10, Tizzy's color is orange, and so I found these beautiful fabrics. Look how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 of them. So for $10, so each piece of material cost me $1, and they're all coordinated. So what I want to do is make some more collars, and I think I'm going to actually maybe make it, I don't know, I could make it so each side is different, a different pattern. I don't know if I want to do that or not. Might be kind of fun in case it flips up or something. And these all coordinate. If I wanted to, I could go back and just add, this is the outside, and add a little trim on the outside with a different color. Or you could stitch something on here. There's so many different things you can do with these. But basically, I'm going to take my patterns that I made, and there's Ria's, and where did Tizzy's go? The original Tizzy one. has gotten lost. Showed it to you. Oh, this is Tizzy's. That one's Tizzy's, and this is the original Rhea one. And so I'm going to take the material and I'm going to cut 2 of my pattern with it, and I'll be right back. The next step with the good side down for both pieces. Now, I came up with this myself. It took me a few hours tonight. I had watched YouTube videos and I Googled and searched for some easy way to make these bandanas easy for me, and they all seemed a little bit complicated. There were some good tutorials out there, but I don't know, I came up with this one. So basically about yay big, I just simply took my iron and ironed down all of the edges, and I did that for this piece also. And what I'm also going to do is, since this is going to get, I found it a little bit difficult right here. You see these are diamond shaped. Right here in the corner, when I bend this down to do the final sewing, this gets really thick. And so, where are my scissors? And so I actually, I don't know if I can do this with the camera. So I actually took and just cut off the edges right there. I mean, you could do these for all edges probably, but I didn't have any problems except for in these corners where we do the last fold when we're sewing, which I'll show you. So I cut them out. Now the next part is to pin, and I'm going to pin them and I'll be right back. First, I wanted to show you, here's my leftover material. I only used one piece for both scarves. This piece was $1, and I can get another scarf out of it. So it's like 30 cents a scarf is how much these are costing me. And so what I did next was to turn both pieces right side out, and I have the edges turned in where I ironed, and I have pinned it. I hate pinning, but this is I guess an important step. Sometimes I try to skip it, but with such a small thing. And here's the larger one for Rhea, all pinned up, ready to go. And I just have a portable, inexpensive sewing machine, pump down there, I guess that's what you call it. And I'm using a length 2 straight stitch. I'm assuming you could do whatever you wanted to do. And I really wish I could push this pin in further. I really wish I could sew and show you how I sew and hold this phone. But basically I got it, I just put it real close. It's not focusing. Real close to the edge, and let's see if I can do this. Ha! I just finished sewing this whole thing on the video, only for my iPhone to say it did not have enough storage room and did not save the whole thing. But regardless, let's move on. Maybe I'll get some of recording this one, but let's finish this small one. Next, what I did was to just turn this over right at the corners. I matched up the corners, put a little pin in, did that on both sides, and now I'm going to stick this in here. And what I did, now you might want to do a double stitch right next to the other one, but what I did was I just followed the same stitching I had already done. And so you start going forward, and then you go, I cannot record and hold this, but I'm going to go all the way back past the edge. I went all the way back, I backed up past the edge and then forward again. And I'm just following the line where I previously sewed, And I'm going to go all the way off the edge, and then set this down. Gotta have two hands. Hit reverse again, and I'm done. I know you can't see what I'm doing, cutting the thread. And so I can remove my pins and cut my threads, and I'm done. And that's simply all you do to make this. I can't get my pen out. Oh well. I'm left-handed and one-handed. There we go. And so now I have my hole through here, and I have my little scarf. And isn't it cute? It's almost like a little Hawaiian, but it's Tizzy's colors. Her colors are teal and orange, and her collar, you see, has some of these colors in it, and so those are her colors that go well with her fur, and I can't wait to get this little one on her. So this one is Ria's, and I can maybe take a minute to do a little bit of stitching with it, like I did with the video that did not get recorded. So I just kind of line it up on the edge. Now I've got to set this down because I can't do my reverse and hold my phone. I'm sorry, bad video. Forward and reverse, and now I'm going forward again. And basically I'm just going as close to the edge as I can. Not as close, but just real close. Same distance. This is simply sewing the two pieces together. When I get to the end, I'm going to bring my needle down into the material, flip the back thing up, turn it, and flip that down. Take out my needle. I've kind of got it upside down. This is what happens when you try to record and sew. So it's just real close to the edge, and when I get to the corner, put it so my needle goes down, flip this up, turn, and that wasn't exactly right, but this doesn't need to be perfect. And it's definitely not being perfect. You see my material's not matching up. It's okay, I'm not selling it. If I was selling this, I'd want to make it perfect. And I'm sure there's much better sewers out there than I am. Of course, don't put this on here backwards where your pins are on the other underside. That's the first time I've ever done that, to my knowledge. But you kind of get the idea. And I just sew one continuous thing all the way around. Staying close to the edges, and all this is doing is putting the two pieces of material together. Here comes another pin. Heaven forbid I run out of bobbin. That's the worst part about sewing to me. Let's get that last pin out of there. Yes, you too can sew left-handed and one-handed. I am proof. And then when I get down to the corner, I actually went ahead and went back to this edge before I did my rewind. I have to put this down. Rewind does take two hands. Pulling it out. Now you see those two pieces have been sewn together. The edges aren't so bad. And I'm going to simply take this and fold it at the corner and put a pin in there and fold it on the other corner and sew along it to make the spot for the collar to go through. Pretty simple and easy. Anyway, that's what I figured out, and that's how to make your pattern and sew it. And I hope this helps you. Yep, once again, there they are. If you have any questions, let me know. And I do apologize for this choppy video on my phone.